All right, let's talk about something, a framework for power that, honestly, most people just completely overlook. We're going to call it the architecture of absolute silence.
Your mouth is destroying you. Let that sink in for a second. Yeah, it's a pretty harsh statement, right? But it's one you really got to consider. Because every single day, the things we say, they can become our own worst enemy.
But think about this for a second. What if your greatest strength wasn't about what you say, but what you don't? What if the most powerful weapon you have is the one you keep holstered? Now that's the idea we're going to dig into today.
Okay, so first let's break down the problem itself, the self-destructive mouth. The crazy part is most of us have one and we don't even know it.
And these are the classic traps, right? We've all been there. You speak too soon, you lay all your cards on the table, you get excited and make some huge promise you can't possibly keep, setting yourself up to fail. Or you let emotion take over. Anger, excitement, whatever, and boom, all your strategic thinking goes right out the window. And the worst one, that awkward silence. You get nervous, you just have to fill it with something, and you end up giving away leverage you didn't even know you had.
See, here's the thing about words. They're irreversible. Once they're out there, they're out there. You can't take them back. Sure, you can apologize, you can try to explain what you meant to say, but you can't just unsay it. Every single word you let loose is permanent. That's why being deliberate is so crucial.
So, that's the problem. Let's pivot to the solution. And I want to be really clear here. This is not about just being quiet or passive. No, we're talking about building something. A deliberate, conscious structure, an architecture of silence.
So what is this absolute silence? Well, it's definitely not just about shutting your mouth. It's an active strategy. It's something you do. You're using your quiet to observe, to really listen, and to create a space where other people, well, they reveal themselves. It makes you unpredictable. And trust me, in that unpredictability, there is a ton of power.
And it's so important to get this next part. There are two kinds of silence, and they are worlds apart. You've got passive silence. That's the silence of fear, of not knowing what to say. It's a shield. But then you have strategic silence. That's a weapon. It's intentional. It's the calm, quiet confidence of someone who is totally in control, just watching, waiting for that perfect moment to act. One signals weakness, the other projects incredible strength.
Okay, that sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually do it? It really boils down to three key principles. You can think of them as Machiavelli's laws of silence.
All right, let's break them down. Law number 1, never reveal your hand. Keep your real intentions close to the chest. When you do that, you force other people to guess, and they end up projecting their own plans, their own anxieties right onto you. They basically fill in the blanks for you, telling you everything you need to know. Law number 2, let others talk themselves out. Most people absolutely hate a vacuum. They can't stand silence. So in a meeting or a negotiation, just wait. Let that quiet hang there. I guarantee the other person will almost always start talking just to fill the space, and they'll start giving up things, revealing information you never even asked for. And finally, law number 3, master your emotional response. An outburst of anger? That's just an admission that you've lost control. A giddy promise made in excitement? You're just asking for trouble. Silence gives you that critical pause, that buffer between a feeling and a reaction. It lets you respond with logic and purpose, not just raw impulse.
And once you get a handle on these laws, well, the advantages become crystal clear. You're no longer just being quiet. You are actively wielding silence as a tool of power. So what's the payoff? Well, you become the observer, not the performer. You're constantly gathering information while giving almost nothing away. People start to see your quietness not as hesitation, but as thoughtfulness, as wisdom. You stop making those stupid verbal mistakes you can't take back. And here's the big one. Instead of you always reacting to what other people do, they start reacting to you. You set the terms. And at the end of the day, what you're really doing is mastering yourself.
This quote really nails it. The eloquent man is not he who says the most, but he who says what is needed. That's it right there. Real power in how you communicate isn't about how many words you use. It's about precision, it's about impact, it's about using silence to make the few words you do say count.
So I'm going to leave you with this idea to chew on. Your silence, it's not nothing. It's not empty space, it's a blank canvas. And when you hold that canvas up, you're inviting everyone else to paint their own picture on it. Their assumptions, their fears, their plans, they'll show you everything. The only question left is, what will you let them paint on it?